What's up, everybody? Appreciate you hanging out with us. Tone DeShields, Rob Ellis. Weekend plans, Tone? What do we have going on?
Oh, man, this weekend, I'm going to try my best to take it easy. But knowing my wife, I won't be able to do that. So I'm going to try to squeeze in my downtime as much as I can. You know, try to hit the gym. Just trying to do my normal, man. Relax. I love movies, so I love sitting down watching a good movie. I'm always trying to find a different movie to watch. Like just the other night, I watched this movie called The Outsider with Jared Leto, and it's really good. I think you would like it a lot.
He does some out of the box stuff.
He's a dark dude.
Yeah.
He had a movie with Rami Malek and
I saw that
and Denzel.
Yeah.
That movie was spectacular.
Yeah, I saw that in the movies. Yeah.
Oh, you went to the movie to see that? Oh,
I
know it was awesome. But yeah, when you get a chance, go on Netflix, watch The Outsider with Jared Leto. Essentially, the story follows an American who's housed in a Japanese prison, and he unintentionally saves a Yakuza who was trying to commit suicide.
Oh, man.
And in saving him, that Yakuza pretty much owed his life to him. So he told him, when I get out of here, I'm coming back for you. He came back for him. And then eventually
broke him out of a Japanese prison?
Well, he got him out.
Okay.
He got him out. And, it follows their relationship, their journey, and it follows Jared Leto's dissension into the Yakuza underworld.
Wow.
And it's pretty awesome.
Interesting. All right.
It's smooth, it's slick, it's gritty. It's Jared Leto is cold-blooded in that movie, man. It's awesome.
I'll give that guy props. He will do out of the box stuff, man. He is not some stereotypical like pretty boy, whatever. He will do out of the box stuff. I will tell him that. I will say that. All right. I watched something last night. I don't know if you'd like it or not. It's old school. It may just be for some of the older heads. I don't know if you'd like it or not, but I watched it on Netflix. It was the making of We Are the World. Now, you familiar with?
Oh, you're talking about that one night in
LA after the AMA, the American Musical. It's fascinating. So Lionel Richie, this is 1984 into 1985. So it's January of 85. Okay. Lionel Richie is like on top of the world with his solo career. Okay. He left the Commodores. He's crushing. So he's hosting the American Music Awards. He's the host and he's performing 2 songs. But in about a month prior, Harry Belafonte reaches out to him and Michael Jackson and like Stevie Wonder, all the heavy hitters, right? Not only of the time, but like goat type guys, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And says like, look, we got to start, doing stuff for the famine in Africa. What he said was, and he didn't mean this. I'll say it and then I'll explain what he meant. He said, but if you remember prior to that, there was Band-Aid with Bob Geldof. And it was a lot of British musicians who raised money for the awareness for the famine in Ethiopia and Africa and all this other stuff. So Harry Belafonte's like, we got white people raising money for Africans and we're not doing anything. So we got to get off our ass and start doing it. All right. That was the gist of it. So then basically it was all going to be surrounding a song. And basically Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson had like 3 weeks to write a song and, for like all of these artists and work them all into it because it was a who's who at the time. The only way they could get them all in one space on one night was most of them were going to be there for the AMAs in LA.
Right.
So they're going to finish as soon as the show's over. Everybody's jumping in their cars and they're going to A&M Records or whatever. I forget wherever they went.
Right. The studios, basically. The studio.
Yes. So and Lionel walks you through he's over Michael Jackson's. I don't want to give too much away. He's over Michael Jackson's house at one point. And they're trying to write. And Michael's just like, say hi to my chimp. And Lionel's like, dude, I just want to write a song, man. Like, come on. So at one point he's trying, and he calls him Lionel. He won't call him Lionel. He's like, Lionel, say hi to my chimp, whatever. And
oh my God, that's hilarious.
Lionel Richie says at one point he's sitting there and they're kind of going through some things, and he's seeing the genius that is Michael Jackson. Meanwhile, like with beats and stuff like that. But all of a sudden he hears like in the background a hissing.
Like,
yeah. So he's like, all of a sudden there's a giant cobra crawling up the wall right next to him. And Michael's like, oh, that's all right. You touch him, you play with him. And Lionel Richie's like, I ain't playing with anything, brother. I'm out of here. Like if you get that snake under control and all this other stuff. That's just a little background.
Michael Jackson was such an eccentric character, man.
He was different. So
just different.
I would just say, even if it's a little bit before your time, it's pretty cool. The like what they had to go through to get some of these people to do it, man. And the whole process of getting the song done is amazing. It's amazing. Wow.
I got to check it out because I saw it on Netflix. I'm like, okay, I got to watch that. That's history.
It's very good.
Really quickly, another movie you should watch. It's on Hulu. Okay. It's called The Creator. Okay. And it has John David Washington in it, Denzel Washington's son. And
he's good. He was great in Ballers and some of the other stuff he's done. Yeah.
No, he's very good. He's starting to build out a catalog for himself. Yeah, you should definitely look into that. It's like a futuristic science fiction movie. It's pretty much about a war between humans and AI, and he plays a soldier who is sent to infiltrate another country's I guess area because America is trying to eliminate AI from the face of the planet. But other countries still support AI, and there's a whole conspiracy behind the AI starting this nuclear attack in the United States, and John David Washington's trying to investigate, and he's on the search for his long lost lover in the process. And it's really awesome. So
I'll check that out. Yeah,
check out the Outsider on Netflix.
All right,
and check out The Creator on Hulu.
Yeah, you do We Are the World. We Are the World.
Got you.
Heavy metal one called We Are the Stars. Dio and all the heavy hitters in metal was great. All right. I'm open to any of that kind of stuff, man. All right, good stuff there. All right, let's I want to go through some of the younger players. Now, I left a couple guys off of the list. Like Devontae Smith's already established, and I know the first person I'm going to ask you about is Jalen Hurts, and we kind of did this. I know Jalen's already established, but it's just so critical to get him right. I'd really love to get a straight answer from him. I know we're never going to get it. But wouldn't you just, hey man, talk to me about last year. Did it not work with Brian? Do you still wish Brian was here? Why do you think it went the way it went? Were Nick's game plans stale? Like that's the word that Nick used. We got stale. How much of it is you? Like, how much do you have to get better? I would just love to not get the don't take the rat poison kind of answers out of them. I know we're never going to get it, but I would, wishful thinking here. I don't think we're ever going to get it. Really.
Yeah, it is. I honestly feel as Jalen progresses in his career, I think he'll speak more. I think so. Because even Devontae Smith, if you notice from year one up until now, he talks way more. Mm-hmm. I think he's more comfortable, in his role. I think eventually we'll get that version of Jalen Hurts. Maybe not in full, but I think he'll start to, as he becomes more solidified, more entrenched, more experienced. I think we might see that veil start to drop a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, and we just
wishful thinking.
It is. I think it's very, very wishful thinking. But so we just went. We kind of just went through what we need to see from him. All right. Let's jump over to two guys who could be really key this year that I don't know that we're looking at all that much. We're still very focused on whether or not Kelsey's going to come back. If Kelsey comes back, this changes the equation, obviously. But Cam Jurgens taking over at center is taking over for one of the greatest centers that's ever played the position.
Big shoes.
Future Hall of Famer. Big shoes. And I like the fact that Kelsey not recruited him, but suggested him, scouted him, and liked him, and said he's the most like me in college. That makes me feel good. And he did a solid job at guard, which I don't think is his number one position. He's a center. But that's a big thing, Tone, especially for a team that still will incorporate the tush push, that still will, he's going to be calling out protections. He has a really important job, man. Center, I think, is an underrated position in the game.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to throw him into the trenches of the tush push quite yet. He has to earn that. But I think this is another person's career that's going to be interesting to track because, like you said, filling in for Jason Kelce is no small feat. And I do think Cam Jurgens is more of a natural center. Landon Dickerson had a better transition from center to guard than Cam Jurgens did. But so I think Cam Jurgens. I do have my concerns from a health perspective. Cam Jurgens has dealt with he's dealt with some injuries this season. I can't remember how many games. I think he played about maybe 15 games or something like that, 15, 16 games. But still, his injuries were kind of, having him in and out of the lineup. He definitely missed a game or two, without a doubt. But he's a solid prospect. I just don't know about the health. I'm nervous about that. We take Jason Kelce's health for granted. He was an Iron Man. He still is.
Yep.
Still is, man. He hasn't missed a game in 6 years?
He's a machine. Yep.
Something like that. So that's why I'm looking at Jason Kelce like, man, do you really want to retire? Like,
I know. Your theory, you think he's coming back. Yeah.
I think he's coming back, man. I got this feeling he's coming back.
You know what I think may help him coming back is Travis going this far again. Tone, he's sitting there watching these playoff games like, man, I want this feeling again, man. I don't want to go out like this. I want to experience it one more time. I'm still at the top of my game. It's hard.
That begs the question: where is he in terms of his belief in the Eagles' ability to turn it around?
That's another thing.
That's what he has to weigh. How much faith do I have in this current Philadelphia Eagles regime to get us back to that point? How far are we? That's what he has to weigh. And then it's just going to come, but it's really going to come down to, the conversations he has with his family, the conversations he has with his wife, and the children, all the kind of stuff. Because these guys have lives outside of this. They go home.
I get it.
So it's gonna really hinge on that. But I really think, if I had to guess, I think his wife will support whatever decision he makes.
Okay. All right. So we'll see. But obviously, if he does hang him up, Jurgens steps in there. That's a huge position to fill. And then the other thing is, Tyler Steen. Is it him? Like, is he ready? Yeah. Do they go another route at that guard spot?
They're going to be really young at center and guard.
Yeah.
Really young.
Suddenly, I mean, other than Lane, you're pretty young across everybody.
Mm-hmm.
With Mailata, Dickerson, Steen, and Jurgens, your only real old school vet is Lane at that point, who could still obviously play at a high level.
Yeah, Tyler Steen, his development is going to be interesting to watch as well, because he's a tackle converting guard.
Yep.
He played both left and right tackle. Now they got him at right guard. He probably is more so a right guard just from a measurable standpoint, by NFL standards.
Mm-hmm.
Brent, it would be cool if they show Tyler Steen some Brandon Brooks film. He can learn a lot from him.
Oh yeah, I love Brandon Brooks, man.
But ultimately, I do think the Philadelphia Eagles are in good standing with their offensive line room. I'm pretty. That's the one group that I don't have that many concerns about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because I trust Jeff Stoutland.
Yeah,
and Jimmy Johnson said this. One of the most important coaches on the field, the most important coach, is the O-line coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most valuable coach you have.
Mm-hmm.
And I buy into that.
Yeah, I do too. All right, let's go to the other side of the ball here. And I think we're both in agreement with Jalen Carter. He did hit a little bit of a rookie wall, but the future's incredibly bright. They got that right? We're all on the same page there with him, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Okay.
Without question.
All right, I'll move off him because I think he's going to be a great two-way player who doesn't have to come off the field. All right. Jordan Davis, we have discussed this a lot, but it's as simple as I would sit him down and say, look, Jordan, how committed are you to being great? How much do you want it? Because you have the ability. You have the size and the athleticism. You showed it to us in the beginning of last year. Mm-hmm. The only thing holding you back is you. It's not the defenders that you're going, or the offensive linemen you're going against, the opposition. It's you, man. So you need to figure this out right now, because you could be great, make yourself a lot of money, and help this team potentially win a Super Bowl, or you can be half good for half a season and then be a non-factor. Which is it? What do you want to do?
Yeah, Jordan Davis has to really sit with himself and figure out what's the next step in his development, what's the next step in his conditioning. Because visually, he didn't look out of shape. He did. But the motor, didn't last as long. He burned, he burned out. So he needs to find a way to expand that reservoir of energy. He has to really hit it in the off season. When I look at a guy like Jordan Davis, the athleticism, the size, the power, he has an amazing combination of all those things. The motor has to catch up to that. And it's only going to get there with his efforts, nothing more, nothing less. We're looking at Jordan Davis and saying, we ain't worried about your talent. We're worried about your damn conditioning. Like, come on, man. That's bare minimum.
Which to me is almost more frustrating. Like you got it. I think
you're right. Because you know what it is? You know what it is? If it was a physical limitation, then we can make sense of that, right? We can say, all right, he's just not good at this.
Yep.
He's just limited. But we see a guy who just explodes off the line of scrimmage, and then he flames out.
Yeah. And partly
and that is frustrating.
Because you can control your conditioning.
You can control your effort. You can't control your physical limitation. They're just guys who are just limited, right? Your height, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You have no physical limitations, my man.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time for you to put down, the Chick-fil-A. I understand it's good, but it's still fast food. Don't let their kind demeanor fool you into thinking it's healthy. Yeah. It's still fast food.
Let's jump over to another guy who it seems like every person that we talk to who covers the team on a daily basis thinks that Nakobe Dean is penciled in as a starter again next year. Okay. Now I don't agree with that, but let's deal with the reality that we have here. I think he's got a couple things going against him. He's on the smaller side, which makes you wonder if he can hold up, which, as witnessed by last season. And maybe you want to say that's fluky. He had some foot injuries, whatever. Okay. I don't, but I'm trying to play devil's advocate.
I know you don't think that. I know you don't think that because, going on IR twice in one season ain't no fluke.
No, it's a bad sign.
That's called a trend.
Here's what worried me more. Well, just as much. You would think if you're smaller, your coverage skills would be better.
You would think that.
You could move better than some, bigger Jeremiah Trotter, gigantic linebacker.
But remember, coverage, it ain't just about moving. It's about them instincts.
Yes, it is. So
being in the right place at the right time.
We didn't see either of those things last season. And I go in with real doubt, man, about him. But he's going to be incredibly critical to this team because that is a position where they're just not good enough right now.
Look, Nakobe Dean is a swell young man. Works hard, smart kid, got his degree, all that kind of stuff. He's a smart dude. But it has to translate to the football field. I need you to be football smart. I need you to try to stay healthy, man. I know there's only so much you can control with that.
Yeah.
But try to stay healthy. Try to make those strides. It's hard to get better when you're hurt. So that was another thing hindering the development. Because look, for all we know, Nakobe Dean could have started off a little rough, and then as the season progressed, he settled into the role and got more confident and started playing more instinctually, right? So that's the frustrating part about his situation. We can't really gauge how good or bad he is. If you notice when we talk about him, we're never talking about really the skill set. We're mostly talking about the health factor,
right?
And we will never know how good or bad he is if he can't stay healthy.
Right.
And I think that conversation is worth having. No matter how much we like the player as a person, we should still be able to discuss the fact of the matter. And that is he can't stay healthy. He was on IR twice in a single season. That's not a good start for a young player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, he has a steep hill to climb because I don't think he should be penciled in as a starter for anybody. He should have to earn it flat out.
Yep. All right, let's go to the guys behind him now, Tone. DBs. Well, let's look. I want to start with this guy because I realized he may not be either able to start the beginning of the season or quite at his best. But Sidney Brown's fascinating because he's the kind of guy who appeals to you right away because he's balls to the wall. He's all effort. He's an old school. I'm not worried about my body. I'm going to hit you first, and we're all going to ask questions later, right? So I love that about him. I really do. I truly do. There's never a question about effort from this cat. Okay, I love that. I just wonder if his smaller. Now he's built, but he is on the smaller side height wise. If that frame can hold up for him, that's my concern there with him.
You know, oddly enough, I feel like it could. That ACL tear was on that MetLife grass or turf, whatever.
We're going to talk about that later in the NFL segment, the whole turf debate. But
right.
Go ahead.
But you know, I think like you, I look at Cindy Brown and I see a fascinating prospect, a guy who just plays fast, plays at 100 miles per hour. I think he needs to. I think he needs to familiarize himself with the brakes, though. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, car. You know, just because it goes 250 miles an hour, then I mean you got to drive it at that speed all the time. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what
discretion is the better part of valor. Like in other words, not everything. You don't need to blow every play into bits. Like there are times where you got to preserve yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, because you know when you play that fast, you know, you can over pursue.
Yep.
You know, you can have bad angles. So, and also I think he could improve as a tackler. And he tends to throw his body at you rather than wrap you up. So, it's a shame he got hurt because that pick six was pretty exciting that we saw in that Arizona game, and I was you know,
what a return, man!
Right,
Oh.
it was almost like he made up his mind when the moment he caught that ball, he knew what he was going to do.
Yes.
So overall, I am intrigued by Sidney Brown. I'm not hitching my wagon to him yet, but I'm intrigued by what his prospects, you know, hold for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Absolutely, I agree with you. All right, let's jump. Look, here's where I'm at with Blankenship. I know a lot of people have really started to turn hard on him. It was his first year as a starter. I think he's fine if he's complimented by a guy who's got better wheels, because Blankenship is like Brown in the sense that I give him props. He'll hit you. And if Vic Fangio can figure out ways to maybe get him closer to the box where it's either blitzing or helping in run support, I think he'll be fine. I don't want him on an athletic tight end one-on-one. There's no doubt. But again, I can't fix a million things in one fell swoop. So I can live with him for one more year as my starter.
And I'm willing to roll with that too. I look at Reed Blankenship as a guy that I'm still high on, but I think even more so, I'm privy to his limitations.
Yeah.
He's not the fastest guy. You know, he can be caught flat-footed at times. You know, you don't want him in coverage. You don't want him one-on-one with somebody. You don't want that. Yep. But can you move him around, like you said, closer to the line of scrimmage, the line of scrimmage, you know, in the box, you know, try to find matchups that work. But you're right, you can't fix everything in one offseason. So there are going to be certain positions where you're going to have to live with who they have there for now. But I do think they need someone next to him that has athleticism. You can't have two guys with cinder block feet back there.
No, Byard and Blankenship were just a bad combination. You had an older guy, and
they were too similar.
Correct, 100%. All right, last one, and we get D-Gun coming up in a minute. But Keely, Ringo, I'll throw Ringo, Ricks, and Job. Job to me feels like more of a special teamer. If you just want to look at the other two, I think there's a lot of potential with the other two. The question is, how big's the leap year one into year two in next year, or this year at least, with a new coach?
That's the $1 million question. How far can Eli Ricks and Keely Ringo take their games in one off season? We saw them in situations that weren't the most favorable. We saw them have flashes. We saw them get burnt. We saw them make plays. We saw them not make plays. It was a very wacky season for everybody involved. But I did see things from Keely Ringo that were promising. Full disclosure, I was nervous about him in that Seattle game.
Yeah.
I just felt like DK Metcalf would have his way.
Right.
Obviously that wasn't the case. So I think he did a very solid job.
I agree.
You know, working with what he was given.
Yep.
I'm curious. I love his measurables, I love the size, I love the athleticism. Can be caught, like I said, flat-footed at times.
But some of that's just youth.
But a lot of it, exactly. I think a lot of Keely Ringo's situation is experience. Yeah. Experience. And again, they need to get younger. They need to get faster, more athletic on that side. He is definitely a cog in that machine of where they're trying to go.
No question. All right, let's hit it. D-Gun, our old buddy, is going to be joining us when we come back. We'll talk to him about everything that's gone on thus far this offseason and look ahead to what's going to happen in 2024 with the Birds. So you don't want to miss any of that. That's Tone. I'm Rob. Let me tell you about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because knowing who to trust with your finances is critical. I'm right there in the front of the line. But I can tell you from personal experience that someone I trust with my finances is Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. If you have a small business and you need help with your employee benefits, that's another resource that Jim can help you with. I have personally entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. You will be as well. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You can also email him, Murray, MURRAY, .Jim@principal.com.